No. Prataya, Jnana Prataya, Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya, Vitataya Namo Namaste. Yo Vipralimba Viparita Mati Prabhudan Vadan Nirasya Kritavan Bhuvidatvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Anandatirtha Munivariham Namami. Pujjaya Raghavendraya Satyadharmarataaya Cha Pajatam Kalpavrikshaya Namatam Kamadhenuve. Ata Kenopanishadaha Shantipataha Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Vishvidavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome, sir. Namaskaram. We will commence the actual per se the Kenopanishad now. We had a curtain raiser. Actually, Kenopanishad has got two Shantipata. We have recited the Shantipata, which is basically from Krishna Yajurveda. This is since it is always recited when we have a collective discussions for the collective welfare of the Guru and Sishya as well as the corrective vibration. In fact, the vibration should be harmonized between the Guru and Sishya as well as the welfare of the Guru and Sishya. Both of them need to be protected from having the knowledge, and the Supreme Power has to protect them while getting this knowledge without any disturbance, distortion, so that they are able to get the right knowledge for further pursuit of the Brahman. This Vedanta, when it gives the Brahman, it is a very sort of abstract concept. When the abstract concept, when the subtle concept always being discussed, it cannot be given always in the sort of a definitive terms. Only we will go on looking into the fragments, because we will not be able to comprehend the entire Brahman or understand the entire Brahman. We will only be able to apprehend the superpower within our limited experience and understanding, and within our limited sort of inward journey what we have undertaken, that is the meditation and other things and all. So what happens when we go for these type of studies, two things that happens because we look for the grace of the God. Amarnath is joining. Welcome, Amarnath. Just now we have started. Welcome. We look for the grace of the God. The grace of the God, we always have been insisting that in fact we have been telling that is required for us, so that we are able to get to any knowledge which we are going to get. What is this grace of God? Because one gentleman asked me, why grace of God? Grace of God, because let him be impartial, let him give the grace of God to everyone. So I think one Swamiji, he gave a very beautiful explanation for this grace of God. See, there was a case filed in High Court by one student telling, see, I was failed in the exam by the university. The other person is also very close friend of mine. He has been made successful because he was awarded the grace mark. I was not given the grace mark. And when the case came and he said, I am not going to argue, I am not going to have any lawyer and all. I will tell the facts. If the court thinks it deem fit, they can give it and all. He said, because they asked, why don't you present the case? It is good that you yourself are presenting, and the lawyers will try to distort, with all the laws. You better tell us. He said, because the friend of mine got 47 marks, 50 is the sort of cut-off point. He was awarded 3 marks and he was given the pass. And then he said, what is your mark? I got 20 marks. So I think I also, because grace is grace, whether you give 3 or 30, the grace is grace. Why can't it be given at all? Because the grace mark is always given within a particular range. So the God also gives the grace depending upon the effort what we take. Assuming I can't take any effort and you give me the grace mark, it is also God will be unable to give it to us. But He will always be with you, as we will see, when we go into the Upanishad, He's always been part of you, is trying to help you out every time. But the thing is, in your worldly affairs, when your worldly dealings, you are always trying to, because you are so drawn away, you are weaned away from him, you are not able to get approach and get the grace. In fact, in our concept, in the entire concept of Sanatana Dharma, when you are sleeping, you are at a peace. You have a very clear sleep because you are cut off from this world and you are closer to the Almighty. So when the Sushipta, that in that particular state of mind, you don't have any problem. And when you are totally in bliss, you have a snoring to the fullest possible extent, even to the consternation of others, because you are totally in bliss. You are in that. Nothing affects you. See, at that point of time, you don't have anything to fall for, anything to think for. So you are in a bliss. That type of a state, because when you are able to be very closer to your consciousness, your Almighty, and your consciousness works, even though, it is, your senses don't work, your consciousness work. Even the God, who is the Atman, he is aware, he is there. But it creates, all your limbs get strengthened. Because unless you have a sleep, the DNA, the regeneration, entire things takes place. More you get a sleep and more your faculties will work better, because they all regenerate, because they are not engaged in any activity. Otherwise, during the day when you are in the worldly life, all your senses are engaged. In fact, that is how, because when we go to the second Shanti Mantra, which is actually there, when we go to that, I will explain it to you how it is that. This Upanishad is called Kena Upanishad. With the Sandhi, it is being sent as Kenopanishad. Kena Upanishad, Keno. Kenopanishad. Kena in Sanskritam, what means by whom? See, every Upanishad start with a question or a puzzle or a paradox. Because, see, what happens, when you are given a new concept, when you go to college or your professional degree, engineering or medicine or anything like that, initially when they tell you all those, the facts of thing and all, it doesn't interest you. Suddenly they will bring a concept, it startles you. Then you put into the whole concept. This Upanishad is also Kena, by whom? Then you think, what is that? Why they are asking Kena? Why Kena? Because suddenly the Upanishad starts with Kena. Because Upanishad simply says, there is a superpower, we are all human beings. They don't start like that. Because all the rishis, all the seers, when they discuss, and they know how the interest and the concerning, the entire focus of the Shishya can be brought to get the knowledge, to prepare and bring it to him, this type of statements are used, Kena Upanishad. But basically it is known most as Talavakara Upanishad. Because it is in Samaveda, Talavakara Brahmana. Talavakara is a Shishya of Jaimini. This entire Samaveda was imparted when Vedavyasa divided all the Vedas into 4. When Samaveda was divided, it was important to Jaimini, who is his prime Shishya. In fact, Jaimini himself has written a big sutra called Jaimini Sutra, which is called Dharma Sutra, which is being always referred for all rites, yajnas, yagas, and whatever, the Dharma Sutra, what we call, is basically derived from Jaimini Sutra. This Jaimini Shishya is Talavakara. See, Talavakara, why this name has come, there is an interesting story behind it. Samaveda is always in this sort of verses. All those verses will have to be in the sort of, the musical tunes. For each of them, there is a rule. Anuswara, Pratiswara, all those things are there. Those things, though if we get into Samaveda, we have to know all those things to recite that. This Talavakara, he used to put the proper tala and proper vakra, and he used to sing that. That is why, he was known as Talavakara. So it is his Brahmana. This in the Upanishad has got Samhitas, Brahmanas and Aranyakas. In that particular Brahmana in Samaveda, which is basically Talavakara, who has sort of made it, he has created it under Jaimini. Jaimini is the main rishi. Talavakara is it. This is called Talavakara Upanishad. Most of the Acharyas prefer to call this as Talavakara Upanishad, but it is popularly known as Kena Upanishad. The Kena Upanishad is so popular, Mainly because Isha and Kena are very popular. In fact, last week I was sharing a small Carnatic song in praise of Shankara. When they try to tell about Shankara, they say he has written Bhashyas on all Upanishads. They say Isha Kenadi Bhashya Virachita. They don't tell about all other Upanishads. Isha Kenadi plus all other Upanishads he has written a Bhashya. That's how Kena is always considered to be one of the prime Upanishad, because we will see how it is taking us into the abstract path and all. This Upanishad is in the 9th chapter for a long time, even though there was a Bhashya written by all the Acharyas, Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, and including Vedanta Desika in Visishtadvaita, all other Acharyas also, Vallabhacharya, everyone has written, Gaudapada, everyone has written. When this was written for a long time, even those Bhashyas are written even before Shankara, there are Bhashyas but they are not available to us. Most of them were Shruti and somewhere it was kept and it was not available. Even after the Acharyas have written a Bhashya, the original manuscript of this Upanishad are not available for a long time. And most of the people doubted whether there is, when you don't get any sort of our human mind, especially after we are being put into Western view of things, we always look for some sort of evidential. Is there anything, whether some manuscript is there, we should have had a manuscript. We all think like that. But in those days it is all Shruti based. There is no books. If it is books, Sanatana Dharma would have been lost long time before. But they have been imparted. The way people can understand, they have been prepared. And they have imparted successively with so many generations. That is how we are able to get the timeless and invaluable knowledge now. Otherwise, this knowledge would not have been available. Everyone would have distorted it. If you are putting it in writing, there could be someone who can insert his own thing, put his thought, conditioned and all. But since it is Shruti based, the pristine, pure wisdom has been distilled and passed on for generations. It is one of the biggest gift, all of them have given to us. So when this particular Upanishad was not available and all, there was a search going on. In 1878, I think we have to thank the Westerners, lot of Western scholars from Max Muller, Paul Duzon, all of them, they have come to India and they have helped us in getting it, because we were not a very organized society, we have got clusters everywhere and all. Somewhere, these palm leaves were available in some part of Andhra Pradesh, somewhere in Uttar Pradesh, somewhere in Naimisharanya, somewhere in Uttarakhand, somewhere in down south in Kerala or Tamil Nadu and all. They have sent teams, trying because they have seen the wisdom in these things and all. In fact, you would be surprised to know the first exposure of Western people to Upanishad are Persian translation of Upanishad of Aurangzeb's brother. He has translated the Persian, that is the first exposure to even, Aurangzeb is considered to be a villain, but his brother, Dada Shoki, he is one sort of a realized person. He took, whatever was available, he translated in Persian. That was the first exposure through Middle East, the Western people came to know. That is how Max Muller, Paul Duzon and everyone came here. So in that process what happened, when Dr. Bernal, he took lot of interest in the wisdom of this Upanishad and he put a team. Some Indians were also there. They all came, finally they could locate this Upanishad in South India. It was, because that Upanishad, though it is in Sanskrit, there were very many lipis. Sharada Lipi was there, Pali Lipi was there, and there are certain dialectical lipis, in some part of UP. UP itself has got 2-3 lipis. Which what is being written in Eastern UP is not the same lipi used in Western UP, because the people there, at that point of time, based on their understanding, they have used it. But luckily, this Sanskrit is a common language, everywhere it is used. We could try to bring. There was a scriptology, there was a separate discipline that is taken, and they have all compiled it. Finally, this Upanishad manuscript was available sometime in 1878. It was available in Adayar Theosophical Society. They have done a great job. Theosophical Society, when Annie Besant, all of them, they took interest, such a wonderful wisdom, it should not be lost. That is how they are taken. We have to be sort of duty bound to be grateful to these people They have brought these and established that is there. But Shankara and all, they have all referred. They have written the Bhashya. They have got word by word Bhashya also. Shankara has written. Vakyartha Bhashya also is written. Everyone has written. But the original manuscript was given. In fact, it is our bounden duty, if we are still having access to grind with our villages and all, it is quite possible some palm leaves may be available. We may not be able to decipher what it is. If we try to get it, now there is the manuscriptology and cryptography and all those, the departments are there, with the government of India as well as University of Bombay. In fact, last month only, the professor of Bombay University, Gauri Mahulkar, she was telling, in Ahmedabad, they found quite a bit of manuscripts. But they were not able to know what language it is and how to decipher it and all. When she got the information, she has sent the students who are working on manuscriptology. It is again IT based. First they scan it and they try to get the entire thing, then try to decipher it. And they have developed a software to have all the lipis and to identify the lipis and the port of it and all they have done. Finally they found it is also phenomenal documents way back to Vedic times, and they have done that and they have requested whenever you get any document, if you don't understand, I think in our villages, we don't have any access to grind. We go there, I think these are all the things, who knows, who is going to read, it is being thrown out, but they may be very valuable thing. That's why, whoever I come into contact, I tell them, if you have anything, please at least give it to at least Swamiji, you give it, they will try to take care of it. Nowadays the technology has come. In fact, in Udupi, they are trying to find a lot of bhashyas written by some of the Madhvacharya's Shishyas. Some of them are still not available. Narahari Tirtha's bhashyas are still not available. I think this Bannanjay Govindacharya has taken a sort of an initiative to bring a lot of documents. In the Hrishikesha Tirtha, one Madhvacharya's direct Shishya, he has written the original document on bhashyas. They have been retrieved very recently. Therefore, I think if we still have any access to grind to our villages or to our relatives, people whom we know, I think at least, we should spread this information. I think it will be a sort of a great boon. It may be some document pertaining to some Vedic, one of the wonderful documents, those things, those type of knowledge will not be available, whatever may be our advance in science and all. So that is our bounden duty. That's how they have gone for this. And when they have got this, Bernal has gone there, then only it was established. And then, because there was again a controversy whether it is in the 9th chapter of the Brahmana or 4th chapter of the Brahmana, because some acharyas referred to 4th chapter. Maybe at that time, whatever manuscript they had, it was in 4th and. But it is established by and large, it is somewhere in the 9th chapter, and now it is established, this Upanishad is available. So now the original manuscript having been identified in 1878, now people have tried to bring in all the, because even the words, anything is there, they have all been looked into, all the scholars have looked into, now we have got the final Kenopanishad. It has been established now. Whenever we go for a Upanishad or Veda, it has been ordained that we should have 3 things always available to us. Because all the Vedas, it has to have a particular Rishi. Who is the Rishi? We should know that. And second is, it will have a chandas, metric. In particular metric or meter it would have been recited. Because when you go for Dhyayana of Veda, you have to recite it in particular meter only. And all this meter has got sort of a grammatical, but they have got number of letters to be there in that particular meter, or number of swaras in that meter. They are all specified. The chandas itself is a big subject in Sanskrit. The chandas, for this chandas, there is a sutra written by Pingalacharya. The Pingalacharya sutra is followed for all the chandas. So whenever you go for reciting, even if you take our Sandhya Vandana, we are supposed to recite the Rishi, because we will be touching, our the head and as well as nose for the chandas, and heart, when you go for the Devata. We normally should do it, but very often, we do it. Sometimes, some people are taught, some people refer to. Most of the time we forget. Even when you do Gayatri Chandas, you will have to go to Gayatri Devata, and you will have to mention Savita, because everything you have to say. So this is an important thing. They say without this you should not recite. This is a convention, and not only the convention, it is rule. And these chandas also, each chandas they have got particular devata. We have got Anushtup Chanda, because there is a particular devata. Indra's wife Rohini is supposed to be devata. Trishtup, because there is a particular devata. The moon's wife is Rohini. She is the Anushtup. Drishtup is Indra's wife Sachi. She is the. And for Jagati, because all Parvati and all because the goddesses, they are the devasas. Likewise, they have given quite a bit of things. Here, this particular Upanishad has got poetry as well as prose. It has got 4 kandas. First 2 kandas are in Padya. It is poetry type. It is Drishtup Chand. It is Drishtup Chand, 36 letters are there. And, because that is one convention. And 3rd and 4th kanda, they are in prose. Prose also in poetic form. They have given it. Because poetry always has been preferred in Vedas and all. Poetry is easy to recite and remember, and it gets ingrained. In a prose, very often, you will be conditioned by your way you always think and do it. It could be distorted. But prose they have used wherever it is there. Because the Upanishad always have used 4 formats of bringing it. One is poetry, one is prose, another is similes and metaphors, upamana and all, and another is narrative. They have tried to bring a story, and from the story they are trying to give it. From all these ways, it is easy for human mind to understand, because that is easier for us because of the faculties. We are able to understand, internalize. That is how it has been done. So, Devata, Chandas, and then you should know who is the Devata and all. So, this Upanishad, if you see, in most of the cases, they would have said it is only a discussion between Guru and Sishya. So, Guru and Sishya, when they do, and they expound the highest knowledge, it comes to that. But in this, because to identify who is the Rishi, who is the Chandas and all, it was not normally, because you will find in any Kenopanishad document, it is not highlighted, though it is there and all. So the convention has it, in Srimad Madhvacharya, he has got into these things and he has brought it. Basically, they have brought this Upanishad as a discussion between Brahma and Sadashiva. Chaturmukha Brahma and Sadashiva. Chaturmukha Brahma and Sadashiva, when they are discussing, they are the god themselves, they have got the superpowers. That means it is, when they discuss, it must be the highest knowledge. There cannot be more higher than that, because that is the understanding. It has also a story behind that. In Varaha Purana, there is one particular story. There was one Rishi called Gautama Rishi was there. The Gautama Rishi, because of his penance, he got a boon from Brahma. He got seeds of grains. Once you sow it, it will grow. It doesn't have to the normal, the germination time and 3 months, 2 months and all. Once you seed it, it will grow and all. There was a famine in Varaha Purana, is even before the Dwapara Yuga and all. At that time, the entire the country was, without, there was no growth, there was starvation all around and all. So what happened, this Gautama in his ashrama, there was no, because the grain was growing and he was able to distribute. So a lot of people took shelter in Gautama's ashrama. When they took Gautama ashramas, in those days they all know all the Vedic knowledge and other things. So in the ashrama always they were discussing the Vedas, Upanishads and all those things. All of them were there during the entire period of famine. When the famine was over, all of them wanted to get back to their respective places. So Gautama requested them, I think why don't you stay for some more time and then you go. See, normally once you go out of station, your intention is to get back to your place at the earliest. So these people thought, now famine is over, how long we can sit here. And most of them are enlightened Vedic knowledge people they had. So they wanted to leave it. And Gautama was very adamant, no, you should be here for some time at least. And all. So what they did, they sort of had a congregation amongst themselves. They created an illusory cow. And the illusory cow was left in the ashrama. Once the cow is in the ashrama, it is always sacred. So normally, it is being invoked, all the pujas are being done and done. When they kept the illusory cow, Gautama was so happy, there is a cow also, I think that is a good omen he was doing and all. Every day, in the morning he got up and he was trying to do puja and he was giving prochana of those water, apo, he gave it. The cow suddenly died. And the moment cow died, all these people, who were about to go and all, they came. We can't live in an ashrama where cow has been, Gohatya has taken place. It would not be proper for us to, they created a reason so that they all can go out. Gautama got wild. He gave them a curse. All of you will forget all your Vedic knowledge. You will not be able to remember the Vedic knowledge from all of you will go off, and you will not be able to get it back again. So with that, once it happened, they also left and this happened. So then only Sadashiva was saying, what is this? Vedic knowledge is the highest knowledge. How world has got rid of the entire knowledge because of the curse of Gautama. How we can bring it about? That is how, because Brahma is supposed to be the repository of all the Vedas. He recites Vedas always, continuously. He is from the Nabhi of Vishnu. So he continuously recites, imparts knowledge everyone and all. That is why Sadashiva went to Brahma. In Vaijayanta is the place where Brahma was there. I think that is, there is one sloka representing that. Srimad Acharya has given it, that I will tell you that. So he said, and he went and told them, what is this, how this knowledge can be imparted. That is how the supreme knowledge importance has come in this Upanishad, based on the discussion between Sadashiva and Chaturmukha Brahma, so that the entire world can get the knowledge. This finally they say the entire humanity should get the knowledge. This Upanishad it comes. The background is there. But very often, this background, since it is not part of the Upanishad, it is only, you will have to connect the Varaha Purana and all. It's not being done, and basically it is said, this particular Upanishad's first kanda is discussed between the very enlightened Sishya and the Guru. The very enlightened Sishya and Guru means it can be someone like Chaturmukha Brahma and Sadashiva only. They are the highest enlightened. That is how, it proceeds. So based on this, Rishi for this Upanishad is Chaturmukha Brahma and Sadashiva. They are the one. Chandas is Trishtup and prose. Devata is supreme power. You can call Narayana, whoever. It is Narayana, supposed to be Narayana, because Brahma is from the Nabhi of this, it is called this one. Because this first understanding is normally supposed to be done for all Upanishad. That is how it has been taken. After taking into this particular thing, and then first there is a Shantipata. That Shantipata, it is a highest evolved Guru and Sishya. They are reciting that particular Shantipata. And we will just recite that Shantipata. I have already sent a recital of first kanda. In that it is there. Now I will recite. If you would like, I think you can also recite. Otherwise we can go ahead and we can. I have already sent the recording of the first kanda, 8 slokas and Shantipata to you. In the WhatsApp I have already sent it, and I have also sent you your respective mails. And we will go to the Shantipata. This Shantipata is the Shantipata of all or Samaveda Upanishads. Whatever Upanishad from Samaveda when you recite, or whatever Brahmana you recite, or Samhita you recite, or Aranyaka you recite, this is the Shantipata you will have to start with. The first Shantipata what we did is always for a discussion between a Guru and Sishya, that is from Taiteya Shaka of Krishna Yajurveda. This is the Samaveda. This Shantipata has to be recited for whatever Upanishad. Kenopanishad is from Samaveda, so we are going to recite this, and we see what exactly this Shantipata is going to tell. Apyayantu mamangani vapranasakshuhu Shrotra matau balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastu Anirakaranamistu tadatmani nirateya upanishadsu dharmaha te mai santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is the Shanti Pata, which we will be reciting almost every session after Sahana Vavatu. And this Shanti Pata, basically it first says, start with the Om, all Upanishad. As we have seen, Om is the Bijakshara for Gayatri Mantra, Purusha Sukta, and consequently Vedas, Upanishad, everything and all. The Om is the A, U, Ma and the Nada Brahma, the Nada. The Nada is also supposed to be part of Om. The Om, when we recite, first, it brings at peace and puts us into the Bijakshara and takes us further into the entire mantra. See this Apyayantu, because we will go Padacheda, one after word by word we will see that. Apyayantu is may it grow in strength and perfection. So when we say may it grow in strength and perfection, and it's fully, let it be fully developed. Apyayantu mamangani, all my limbs, all my senses, indriyas, organs, let them be developed to full potential and perfect. When it develops to full potential and perfect, because when I have to get the knowledge from this world, it is able to get it absolutely without any blemish in totality, in plenitude. Because when you say that, because this is what the mamangani, unless, because if you see any of our any language, in Avayar also is read, Aridu Manidarai Piratalaridu, Manidarai Pirandakalayum, Kun Koridu Sevidu Pidine, because I should be able to speak, I should be able to see, I should be able to hear. All my organs should be into the full potential and perfection, then only I will be able to get the knowledge from this world and internalize it. Mamangani, then when all my angas, limbs, angas, when they say walk, speech is the one of the angas. Through speech only, what you get, you are able to communicate and get your questions to your Guru, and Guru is able to answer it. The walk is the one normally makes you how good or how popular, how sort of a graceful a person you are. More your walk is graceful, more your walk is, I think, having, full potency, more you are able to talk, you become a very popular leader or a popular person in your area, and you are fully realized person to yourself. You don't have to talk to anyone, because you yourself will. When you talk, a measured talk carries lot of meaning. But when we, without measure, without thinking when we talk, what we are talking may not always be communicating. So very often what happens, we are not able to get the full understanding, because we may be hearing but we may not be listening, because it has to go inside. So the walk has got the greatest potency to create an impression. And in fact, it is said in our, because each senses, indriyas have got a devata in our Sanatana Dharma, walk has got Bharati as the Devi. And when she is, because the Upanishads are the great leaders when they take, and when Vivekananda spoke in Chicago, all those things, walk, she was Bharati, she was giving the full potential. When he talked, each word was taken to the heart. That normally when you speak, the word goes only to the ear and quite often goes by the other ear. Unless it reaches your mind, it will not reach your heart. Unless it reaches your mind and heart, then only you will be able to get it. So this particular thing is important here. When you are having a discussion, Vedic discussion of highest knowledge, when Guru says your walk and his walk, because finally it has to be effulgent enough to get across to your mind, heart and fully internalize. That is why they say walk. Prana. Prana is very important, because without prana you are not a living body. The prana is very important. When the prana, when it gives, prana has got quite a bit of activities. When you say prana, we will also see, what are all the pranas, this one. When you do prana, not only that, it has got the digestive power is there. It has also got the ability to activate your mind is there. It has got the ability to activate all your other angas. It is a pratama, mukhya prana when we call it. It has got unless prana is there, the body is not a living entity. The prana has to be there. When prana is there and the breath is going continuously through, the proper breath when it is going, all your senses are able to function to its full potency. Therefore, it is very much there. Prana sakshu. Sakshu is eyes. Eyes always sees the form, color. It is only able to identify. When you is able to see what it is able to see and get it understand. Very often, because when you are seeing something, you are not really seeing. You are only conveying what you are seeing to your brain. Your brain processes it. And then it gives you the understanding whether it is an animal, whether it is an insentient object, it's a human being, or it is an object. So first what you do, you try to see that, when you go to the dark room, you put the light on, the eyes are able to see the objects inside the room. The first it gives. Likewise, because when you are able to get, to do that, it is a subjective knowledge. What we are going to discuss is a subjective knowledge. Eyes are able to see the objects. Unless the mind is able to get into the subjective knowledge and do not objectify what you are seeing, then you are able to get the correct knowledge. That we will see how does it happen. It is a sort of concept. But basically when you see, and unless without good eyesight, you will not be able to even read a book. Because as the old age comes, we all have this cataract or anything like that. It's very important. And when our eyesight was very good, when he was 18, 20s, we didn't have the grace of the God to go for the Upanishads and read it. Now we have got it. So when they say Sakshu, when you are having all this perfection, you go for the study of all these great scriptures. That's what they are telling. So this is basically, you can start it and then you don't have to postpone it after my retirement or after 60s and all. It can start any time, when you are capable, when it is fully developed. This is the first thing they are telling. Then Shrotra, hearing. When you are hearing, see, when you become hard of hearing, whether they said is or whether say Pratishtam, what they say, in our own language in the house, what they ask for sometime, we mistake it also. Because our hearing also, if it is not perfect, it happens. The hearing is also to be perfect. When a Guru imparts, he is giving you the Shabdas. The Shabda has to be understood in full potency. So that is, your ear has to be perfect. So now when we are doing, I have to use this headphone, because the headphone gives me an enhancement to my hearing. So without headphone, my hearing is not all that perfect. So that, the very reason why we are praying for it, let me get all this knowledge by having a proper hearing, proper eyesight, proper all my angas, let them develop to the perfection and let them not distort. See, when you see something also, you should not have a distorted view. If it gets a distorted view, you may not be able to get the full, because supposing if there is a vague, if something looks vague, you will not be able to exactly identify, whether it is a snake or a rope, because as they say in Advaita, those type of things will happen. Shrotram Atau, likewise all other limbs. See, the Upanishad, they have not go on enlisting the limbs. The prime limbs, they said Prana, Sakshuhu, Shrotra, and when they said all other things, like, your legs, hands, your sort of digestion system, excretory, and reproductive, all those things, let them all be to the full potency, capable of effulgement, realizing your full potency in this world during your living. That's what they think, and you are able to get the knowledge, whatever is important to you, appropriately. And when you do, your ability to absorb the knowledge grows. That is the first request, both Guru and Sishya, whether you can call it Chaturmukha Brahma or Sadashiva or enlightened Guru or Sishya, all of us, this is how it comes. Balam Indriyani, because when the Balam Indriyani is vitality, because all vitality has to be, when you are listening, the entire 100% attention should be there. See what happens, normally our classes are held for school and 45 minutes or maximum 50 minutes. Because the human span of attention is good for during that period. Afterwards you have a break, or sometimes you will have to have something else. It resumes after that. So in order to have the full attention, because the Upanishads and all taught in forest, where you have got no other distraction, even if you are bored, you will have to see the face of the Guru only. So in order that you ensure that you are not bored, you are able to continuously give your attention to what your Guru says, absorb it, and such a pristine pure atmosphere you will definitely be there, because nothing to disturb you. And you have brought your perfect senses, you are able to do that. Cha sarvani, balam indriyani cha sarvani, sarva indriyas, all indriyas, let it be to the perfection. Sarvam brahmopanishadam. Brahma can be understood only by Upanishadam. Upanishadam Brahma. Without Upanishadam, you will not be able to understand Sarvam. Whatever knowledge you want to get, everything entire is in Upanishad. So therefore, let us get into the Upanishad education. So Upanishad study and understanding, let us go it. And in fact, it is a very, very famous quote. Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam, Upanishadam Brahma, Brahma Upanishadam is... You will find all the Acharyas quote every time. Maham Brahma Nirakuryat. Let me not disown the Brahman. Nirakuryat, because you do, because you have a study for a week, study for 10 days. Okay, I think it's all getting too much. Let me stop at that. Don't do that. Let me not happen, because the Brahma Vidya is very difficult to get. You will have to commit yourself fully. Let me not disown, let it not be, because this Gautama Shapa comes to the mind, because he asked everyone to forget. Once it is forgotten, to regain, you will have to do the Adhyayana. When you do Adhyayana, see, normally you are supposed to do Adhyayana for 12 years. Unless you do it 12 years 3 times, you are supposed to be a full master. So it takes so much of time. So let me not disown. Nirakuryat, Mama Brahma Nirakarot. Let Brahman does not disown me. That means let him give his grace to continue. Because all that, whatever you do in this world, even if you eat, if you drink, sleep or do anything else, you need the grace of God. Let him continue to give the grace. Let the grace doesn't run out. You are requesting, it's a fervent request to the Almighty. Let me not give up this study. Let me continue the study and complete it. And go about, understanding the primordial power. And let your grace be continued, available to me. Tadatmani nirate Upanishadsu dharmaha. Sadatmani nirate, because this non-rejection, let it not be there. This Atman, when I am trying to understand, what I am going to understand is how this Atman is there, how this Atman is being given the power, the controller who gives the entire power to Atman. When he gives that, Nirate, let it be there. Let me continuously be there. Let me able to know. It is the Upanishads to Dharma. This Dharma, what is there in the Upanishad, let this Dharma, let them be here, let them be available to me with your grace. And always we are able to proceed with the Upanishadic study continuously and all. This is what exactly the Padacheda says. Padacheda, when we go little different to, because what this, exactly in a broader sense, what it is going to, Apyayantu Mamagani, when we say perfection and all, when you do all these things, because all your Indriyas will be perfect. Basically, your Indriyas never disturb you. Only when the mind has a fancy of using these Indriyas, that only disturbs. So when you say Apyayantu Mamangani, let Indriyas be perfection in the sense, let them not, they don't disturb. When they communicate what they see and what they are doing it to the mind, let the mind doesn't give any fancy projection, let it not give any craving. That is what it says. Atmayantu Mamangani, Vak, Prana, Sakshu, everything together, Balamindriyani, all of them, they do it. Ma Brahma Nirakarot, let it not give up the study at any point of time. And even if we have some sort of a doubts, let it be clarified. You give me the ability to ask my Guru and get it clarified then and there. Let me not continue with that doubt and finally get disillusioned. Let it not go with that disillusionment. Let me go for this entire Upanishad study. Mamam Brahma Nirakarot. You also, the Brahma also, let him not disown me, let him give the grace, continuously let it be available. And I should be able to, because when a Brahma Nirakaroti, because I should be able to, I know the Atma is there with everyone, Atma is there with the Guru also, he is also having the controller. Let me understood, let me able to, other Sishyas who are also there, let me also able to interact with them and do it. For this, they are giving one particular instance. In Mahabharata, Bhima was asked to, he was in search of a flower called Saugandhika. Because Saugandhika was the flower I think Draupadi wanted, he wanted to get that flower for her. So he was going into the forest. When he was going to the forest, he saw some old man lying across. All of us must have heard the story. It is Hanuman, was lying there. He is very old. He said, why don't you set aside? He said, look, I can't just move aside. Why don't you lift my tail and you go there? He thought, he's a strong man. He knows what is this. But anyway, he tried to lift the trail. And he said, then why don't you jump over me? He said, I will not jump over. Because the Atma is inside me, is the controller. He is inside you. I will not jump over another Atma. So then I think Hanuman understood this fellow has realized, what exactly is that. And then possibly he gives him, his own advice. And then vanishes from the scene. This is how it goes. This they say, when you are having the humility, Vidya Vinaya Sampanna, when you have that, then only you are able to get the full knowledge from your Guru. That's what they are telling. Then we are telling that this be continuous, that Upanishad Dharma, whatever is there, let me get that. This one in Samaveda, in all the Shantipata it is there. This Shantipata is in fact particularly very suitable for this Keno Upanishad. The first Upanishad when we go, the first verse we will go, it will ask you, it will be the question and answer without any answer. It's a question that's being discussed in the first verse of it. Kena means we said by whom. By whom, then the question comes, what is it and all. So one Swamiji is there in Bombay, he is running something called a Kaivalya Dham. Some of you may have heard about him. His name is Anubhavananda. He is a very, very highly enlightened person. He gives in a very, very simple language, he explains the Upanishad and all, to Hindi and English and all. He is conducting Upanishad classes for the small children. Upanishad, what he can teach, everyone used to wonder, because they also, because in the holidays you don't want to send and all. They send all his people who are associated with him, they send. He says, it is easy to teach Upanishad to children because they don't have any baggage. Once you grow, you carry the baggage. He says, when you teach the Upanishad to elders, you don't get questions, only you get complaints. Whereas children don't complain. They are playful and they talk to you, they ask all sorts of questions. When he was teaching Kenopanishad to a set of children, and the children asked them, it is Keno Upanishad or Sugarcane Upanishad? So he, in his own way, it is like Sugarcane Upanishad. It is as sweet like sugarcane. You can call even a candy Upanishad. See, because he brought the interest of the children to that. And then he was telling, what this Upanishad says. The Upanishad says, what about you? God is in you. The children said, look, I know who I am. I am there and God is also there. Then he said, yes, you are there and God is also there. God is the controller and he is helping you, he is there. Oh, both of us are there. To explain the same concept to the elders, the Atman, he is there, internal controller, he is always with you. The children understood in a very simple language because they don't go into all sorts of, they don't have a luggage, they understand that. That is what he was telling. How it is when he says, once you are open-minded, the Upanishad knowledge will go very fast. But if you are trying to relate to your, what you heard or what you experienced, what you read, then why he is telling, we read like that and that Acharya said like this. You have to give up your dogmas. When you give up your dogmas, then you will be able to, because it is the first preparation for getting into the Upanishad. See, another thing is, when both of us, the Indian students, Indian in particular, we are very good in asking questions. We can't give answers to our own questions. That's why we are asking someone else. If we know the answer, perhaps we may not ask the questions. But it is in our nature, because basically we know it is the easier way of doing it. So if you have to reflect, think over and get an answer, instead of that you ask, this gentleman must have already thought. It's like WhatsApp. If something comes, you forward it to someone else, you see, because someone has already done it and given it to you and all. You look for this fast food knowledge. The fast food knowledge, will go like a fast food, it will not be with you. That is why they say you take out the dogmas. These Upanishads were, I am just repeating for the purpose of them, these were all before Advaita, Dvaita, Visishta Advaita, all sort of denominations were there. They were all pure truth. So when we go, we will have to go with the open mind, without any sort of conditionalities. Then we will be able to get the port of this entire. That is one thing. And another thing is, in Kena is a Sanskrit word by whom I said. In Bengali, lot of Sanskrit words has gone as it is into Bengali. Kena has gone in Bengali as Keno. If you ask if you are worked in Calcutta, you ask anyone to, I think Prabhuda is, we both of us were in Calcutta for a long time. He knows that. You ask anyone request to do a job, first thing he will ask, he will not ask what is the job. Keno? Why? Because any Bengali will first ask why. Why is, because you will have to make him understand why the job has to be done. Then you will have to explain the job to him. It is like that. The Keno by whom has become why there. And Keno is a word very often used by Bengalis at least 100 times in their discussions every day. So it is a very popular word there. This Keno by whom is also something like that. But it asks, you will be asking the question to you and all. Before we go for this, the dogmas when I said, why, because we have to come to this, how to Upanishads and all has to come to about, how you will be able to get the grace of the God and all. To get the grace of the God, 47% or 50% or 60%, the best thing is, once you don't get into the past, once you don't see into the future, once you are able to come into the utter presence, you will get the grace of the God. Because what happens is, when emotionally, because what Upanishad has got pure truth then. Normally, when you physical experience what you have in this world, very easy to communicate to one another. But physical experience, once you get into emotional, that is little difficult to convey. When you are angry and all, only your words will reflect. But we don't know exactly how you are angry, what made you angry, what is the qualia inside your mind. We don't know what it is. As well, you happy. Suddenly, you might have had a very happy occasion. You got a sort of, you might have been promoted or you became a CEO or something like that. You got something very, very happy incidents. You got a grandchild or something like that. Even once you enter, you will give a sweet and you will be in the happiness, fully embodiment of happiness. So emotion is also very difficult to, unless you convey and you try to understand. If for the other person to understand, it is very difficult. Intelligent, intellect what it tells is to convey is still more difficult. Physical experience is difficult, emotion is very difficult to convey, and intellect is still far more difficult. And the reality, what you are talking about Brahman is too difficult to convey. But what these rishis have achieved in this particular Upanishad is, they have tried to use their audible faculties to bring the dexterous discovery of God and give some sort of an idea into all us. We can't comprehend everything, we will be able to apprehend. They have tell us in fragments, they have told us in such a way that you are able to exactly understand what is this concept of God. In fact, I think some of you may be knowing, there is a very famous philosopher from Germany. He was considered to be one of the three best persons, who are wise persons of 19th century, Friedrich Nietzsche. The problem in understanding his philosophy, first to understand his name itself is difficult. N-E-I-T-Z-H. How to pronounce his name? Someone call it Nietzsche, someone call it Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. And he is a person, he is such a brilliant person.
In Germany, at the age of 22, he was the head of the department in a particular university. That was in Germany. If you know those times and all, one can't become like that. He's such a very brilliant person and all. And he has got disillusioned himself. And he has written so many books. One of the book is The Death of God. So that has given, So once you see, finally he said, when God is there only you discuss all those things. The death of God, then only you will really look into all those things. He has given. And in fact, if you really see the Netflix serial, there's a serial. Hitler claims that he is following Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy. You'll be wondering, how he is following the philosophy and all. This is how he has understood. It is like that. It is one of the very important. He has propounded that. Likewise, when you understand the God, when you want to do that, they have brought about this knowledge and all. When we have to do all these things and all, very often, we have our own barriers we have built. Barriers we have built is, sometimes because of our own attitude to a particular subject, sometimes our own emotional sort of reactions. When you reduce your reactions, you become totally coming towards the receptiveness of the knowledge. Some people are very angry. They will react very fast. That is not really, you see something, because it is their own problem. Because they are building a barrier. It is their own insecurity. When a person is angry, either he is insecure or he has got some ignorance. He has not understood a particular issue. That's why, if he has understood, he may not be angry. Once you try to explain to him, he may not be angry and all. You are building a defenses around yourself. This Upanishad breaks the barrier. Breaks the barrier. When you say first they have brought when we wanted all the Indriyas to be perfection, let it have full vitality and all. When it comes, you realize what it is. Your free will can be expressed. You will have really the free will once you take out the conditionalities like this. Otherwise, what you call your free will is not a free will. Very often what we mistake the free will to be the one, what I am doing, what I think. Because I like coffee. That is by habit. It doesn't have any great intellectual potential. My mother has given me coffee right from the age of 3 and she made me addicted, and subsequently I have been addicted to tea in North India. This is a habit. It doesn't have to do anything at all. And it doesn't have any logic. So when you continue with so many illogical luggage around us, when you just take out that and when you are coming out of that, once you understand what is a free will, and once you take out the barriers, all our reactions are because of the barriers, insecurity and ignorance. Even sometimes people may not talk. That is also insecurity. You should talk. In fact, Isavasya Upanishad said, if you find some person is doing something wrong, or if you think it is avidya, it is not correct, it is your bounden duty to go and correct. Doesn't matter, whether that fellow jumps or humps or whatever, slouches or couches. It is your duty to do. Because that is the altruism. In fact, Srimad Madhvacharya's interpretation is, don't keep quiet. You please go and correct it. That is your bounden duty. You cannot be sitting idle telling that it is a funeral. It is everyone's funeral, it is the world's funeral. Don't be that. The world will have to be a perfect place, delineate, it has to live. That's why we have taken the Vasudeva Kudumbakam concept. And here also when we mean, the first Shantipata, the first mantra, we all pray for the humanity, not for ourselves. Let the whole entire humanity have all the Indriyas, all, the senses to the perfection, let them understand. And let them grow, they enlighten themselves, they grow effulgent. You don't pray for yourself, and altruistic thinking. That's why Upanishadic concepts doesn't pertain to one religion, one set of people. It is applicable to every human being on this universe. It is applicable to even insentient and sentient things. They say even a tree, which grows where Upanishad is being taught, it also learns Upanishad much faster than the Sishyas. It does have a sensitivity. If you go there, because there is a proverb, I think in fact in North India they used to say, if there is a thunderstorm, most of the time you will find a tree will not damage a person. It will not fall on a person. It may fall on a thing, it may fall on a car, it may fall on a cart, it may fall on something else, but it will not fall on a human being. Because this is exactly, we think, because God, whatever, He has given the life into this, it has grasped to that extent, but we have been given every faculty. Jantunam durlabam narajanmaha, because this is what Shankaracharya says, Viveka Chudamani. We have got all these things. We are able to discriminate, understand, identify and all. The whole world is like that. The entire 7 billion people inhabiting this world, all of us them are eligible. This mantra definitely says for the humanity. It is for the humanity, they say. This is how the Shantipata has invoked the entire thing. And we will go to the first verse. I will just recite the first verse, leave it at that. And we will go into the full discussion of the first verse next week. This first verse is such a wonderful verse. In fact, it is quoted by Max Muller, all these people, in their sort of discussion of Western philosophy also. Om kenoshitam patati preshitam manaha kena prana pratamaha praiti yuktaha keneshitam vacham imam vadanti sakshut shrotram kaudevo yunakti. This is the first mantra. I think next week, as our Amarnath has suggested, we will also recite, we will recite and we will also get some internal feeling also. With this, I think today's session I will keep it at that. And certainly, we have started with a lot of generalities and the specificity of this particular Upanishad, the importance of it. We will have sort of a comments or discussions, especially from Chandran sir, Padmanabhan sir, and our Amarnath Prabhu and all. Krishnan sir. Yes, Chandran sir. Appropriate time, yeah. You can, sir. Yeah. Sir, actually, it's a very right question. In fact, let me tell you, this is the limitation for a lot of our people to get into the scriptures or mantras or anything like that. Because our acharyas and Vaidika people also propounded this and all. Basically, sir, it is Antaratma, if it is clear, you can do any point of time. Only thing is, when you are after coffee, you should not keep the newspaper side by side and Upanishad. Don't keep the newspaper. Newspaper, you leave it out. Why it is being said is, if you take a bath, assuming, very often we are not able to do, if you see Chidambaram and all, they do Sandhya Vandanam in the morning as soon as they get up, even before taking the bath. Because from Chidambaram, that Gurukul comes, I subscribe to that, I get the Vibhuti, that Nataraja's own. They say, you just put Vibhuti or whatever it is, you have that. That is good enough and all. In our case, since we can't put Nama and all, Urdhva Pundara we call, sir. What we do, this Nama, it is called Urdhva Pundara. Why it is Urdhva Pundara? The Shankha, all Deepas, Shankha Chakra, Gada, Padma, and when you put everything, it takes the Kundalini from Mooladhara Chakra and takes you up to Anahita, and then it takes you to Ajna Chakra and Anandamaya and all. So what people can do, in my opinion, I have seen a lot of orthodox people doing also. Morning Sandhya Vandana, they do it even before. See, in winter you can't do Sandhya Vandana in North Delhi and all. What do? You take the water only, you deem it as Urdhva Pundara, and even Bananjay Govindacharya says, doesn't matter, you have to put some thick Gopi Chandana, then only you are Urdhva Pundara. Doesn't matter. You do that. Maybe you can do some Gayatris, that's good enough. But then you can do it after coffee also. But coffee have that mental sort of focus in going to the Upanishads and all. For instance, after bath, it says it's in South, we are being a tropical country. Our habit is to take early morning bath. But having come to the cities, it's not possible. Even if you want to take in my building, water may not come that day. So what to do? You got but you will have to do that. That is why lot of our people couldn't learn Harivai Stuti or Bhajagovindam and all. If you have that, that discipline is good. Physical discipline good. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Sasvatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajambibum. The Param Brahma is full of bliss, full of clean. Once your Antaratma is clean, you can do that. There is no, you can read because book, that is the only time maybe available to you. Suppose if the power cut is there, the power is there only from 7 to 9. You can't read any other time. You can certainly read. But the Upanishad discussions, they say, normally come with this discipline, then you are able to focus. Not only that, the Uddhava Pundara, be it, whether you put Vibhuti or Namam or Gopichandanam and all, they all take, your energy from Muladhara, bring it back, to your Sushmanadi, and they bring it and Ila Pingada Sushmanadi, and they take it to at that point of time, your focus is there. Then you can do. Even, because you can put a Vibhuti in the morning, and they can read Upanishad only. Or, you put Gopichandan or Namam, whatever it is there. And some people do Sandhya-Vandanam only with water, they do, because you can't take bath in a winter, what to do and do Sandhya-Vandanam, and you can read. But the only thing is, don't put TV on, newspaper by side, and some song going in your VCD. Don't do that. You can certainly do. And it is always in Kali Yuga, that is the only dharma. Let us not hesitate to read as and when possible. Because if you put the time will not suit you. And the sort of surroundings may not give it to you. When we say Om Shanti Shanti, 3 times when they say, let there not be any disturb from the cosmos, let there not be disturbance in the surroundings, let there not be Adhyatmika disturbance. All the 3 disturbances, when it is not there, then only I can do. So if surroundings are not having disturbances, you can do that. And afterwards, once your Antaratma is clean and you are in a position to absorb and read and understand, absolutely any point of time, 24 hours we can do. Because the Atma is residing in us, he is a controller. He is always sleeping with you. When you are drinking coffee also, he is observing you. He is a Sakshi. And when you are talking about politics also, he is observing you, what are your views. He does it. So it doesn't matter, but he doesn't have any opinion. He leaves it to you. That's all. It can always be done, sir. In fact, most of us, most of the people residing in the city couldn't get into a lot of literature because of these restrictions. At the same time, as far as possible, if I can get bath instead of 11:30, 10, 9 o'clock, 9:30, and depending upon the availability of the water and power, earliest you take it, that is the only good thing. That is what you think. And that is how we have to absorb the knowledge. Shankara also says like that. It's like a medicine, you have to take the medicine when you need it. It's not that, you can't, I will wait for some time to take it and all. When you need it, you have to take it. I think in Jayatirtha very beautifully said, Trishna Vichetavat. When you need, when you have feel taking water, thirsty, you will have to quench the water then and there. See, karma also you have to do, and literature also you have to do, scriptures also you have to do. The Trishna Vichetavat. When you have a longing, do that. Because you losing that particular point. Perhaps you got full focus at that point of time. Why should you lose it? God has given you the time. He is with you. He is always with you. Any time of the day you want to do anything and all. Let us do that. There is no harm in that, sir. You can always do that. It is how, because a lot of great people have also done. Even, because the ashrama, what happens? Sometimes there is a flood. You can't take bath. What you do because in Uttarakhand it always happens. They can't take bath. They again go with the Upanishads and other things also. After all, Antaratma is there, your focus is there. That is what is more important. Anything else, Padmanabhan sir, Vinayak, Amarnath, Krishnan sir? Anyway, I think with this we will close this session, sir. I think, sir, with the request, everyone can come with all the questions and all. It is not only a clarification, it's also clarification for me also. So I can also get my own doubts clarified. With this we'll close. Sahana vavatu, sahanau punaktu. Yes, Krishna sir. Correct. Anything? That's right. Correct. See, karma is like, sir, our offering to the God. Whatever you do is offer it to the God. So even if you take coffee, Krishnarpana, take it. I think let him also have some drip of coffee with you. That is all. And whatever you get, you take it as a prasada. See, I think because your wife has given you a prasada, share it with him. That's all. That is the bhava. In Isavasya also said, karmanyeva. We said, always we'll have to do karma like Krishna vichetavat, quenching your thirst. So we will offer and get the prasada. That is all, sir. The entire life is like that. Once you take it, you will not have any bondage or barriers. So we'll close it. Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahaihi, tejasvina vadidamastuma vishvidavahaihi, om shanti shanti shanti. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We will meet next week again. Thank you. Thank you. Krishna Arpanam.